Frameshift drive charging. Fuel scoping. Fuel scoping complete. Surface scan. Surface scan complete.
Week in review. Here are this week's main stories. The children of Tothos have been thwarted in their attempt to destroy Arkham Bolt Terminal. Cult leader Barnabas Cole was killed by Special Agent
Frameshift drive charging.
Shell carried while preparing to detonate the nuclear Lucifer device, as federal intelligence agents arrested the remaining cultists. Karim and her team had infiltrated the starport by posing as devotees of the cult.
3, 2,
The Federal Times Times has been asked to provide evidence as part of an FIA investigation into Rackham Capital Investments. A number of employees, including owner Zachary Rackham and current CFO Taja Gavaris, are understood to be the focus of the inquiry. In other news, Princess Aisling Duval has revealed details of a secret meeting with Hadrian Augustus Duval. The two met in the Paris system, with Princess Duval expressing regret at the violent purge of Novo Imperium members. She further stated that genetic testing confirmed
Fuel scooping.
Hadrian's lineage. And those are the main stories this week. Aisling Duval contact.
Fuel scooping complete.
Hadrian Duval. Princess Aisling Duval has revealed that she recently visited Imperator Hadrian Augustus Duval, leader of the isolationist group Novo Imperium. The Imperial Herald published her statement. For some time, I have regretted my initial dismissal of Hadrian. Had I known that Arisa intended to carry out such a brutal purge of his followers, my approach would have been different. Although he has been labeled an enemy of the Empire, I found myself unable to ignore this new member of the Duval family, and so requested a meeting in the Paris system. Another reason to make contact was to verify his claim to be Emperor Hengist's grandson. All the genetic tests were conclusive. Hadrian is indeed my cousin by blood. We have now opened a dialogue to see if there can
Frameshift drive charging.
be common ground between us. Perhaps together we can heal divisions within the Empire. Starport saved from destruction. The Children of Tothos cult has been prevented from detonating. A nuclear weapon intended to destroy Archambault Terminal. Crime correspondent for the Federal Times, Ethan Takahashi, delivered this special report. Terror struck the starport when cult leader Barnabas announced the final ceremony to summon their deity, Tothos, by sacrificing millions of people. As Cole prepared to activate the Lucifer device, he was shot dead by one of his followers, who subsequently revealed herself as Senior Agent Rochelle Carey. Other Federal Intelligence Agency operatives moved to arrest Cole's acolytes and secure the control deck. We've since learned that Karim's unit was posing as Tothos worshippers eager to join the cult.
Frameshift drive charging.
They had staged the death of a team member to receive access to the starport. The Lucifer device has now been disarmed and secured, while station services are returning to normal. Rackham under investigation. The Federal Times has been asked to assist with a criminal investigation into Rackham Capital Investments. Journalist Brianna Blanco reported on the details. Operatives from the Federal Intelligence Agency have contacted our offices regarding the recent deaths at Zachary Rackham's company. We are cooperating with their inquiry and have agreed to share all relevant documentation. The Federal Times has been monitoring the suspicious activities of Calico Zach for years, so we're relieved that the authorities are at last taking these allegations seriously. Our discoveries about Taja Gavaris, who seems to be clearing the path up the corporate ladder by any means necessary, are of particular concern. We expect Rackham, Gavaris and many other ex-pirates masquerading as businessmen to answer all charges brought against them. Week in Review. Here are this week's main stories. The Children of Tothos are preparing to detonate the Lucifer device as part of an apocalyptic ceremony that would destroy Archambault Terminal. Transmissions have been received indicating that ritual sacrifices have occurred at the starboard, with civilians wishing
Frameshift drive charging.
to join the cult being forced to kill one of their crew upon docking to prove their devotion. Rackham Capital Investments has experienced a second tragedy, as the head of personnel suffered a fatal accident. The position was quick. Filled with a supporter of Taja Gavaris, the recently installed CFO is believed to be positioning herself to acquire the company from owner Zachary Rackham. In other news, the occupant of a cryogenic pod retrieved from an outpost once used by Fargod worshippers has been revived. Kiona O'Connor, a runaway taken in by the cult, was placed in suspended animation along with many other adherents. She has since been returned to her family home. And those are the main stories this week. Fargod survivor revived. The occupant of a cryogenic pod recovered from an abandoned outpost used by the Fargod sect has been revived successfully. 17-year-old Kiona O'Connor has been confirmed as the occupant. Following medical checks and an extended debriefing by the Federal Intelligence Agency, she made this statement to Vox Galactica. I'd been homeless for a long time when the monks took me in. I never understood much about the Far God really. I just needed to get off the streets. A lot of people there were like me. Somehow I ended up at the outpost, where they put us all into suspended animation. I've no idea what happened after that. I'm just grateful to be alive. I hope the others are too. I hope they got whatever they were praying for. The FIA has contacted Kierna's father, John O'Connor, and arranged for her to be escorted to her family home. Second fatality in Rackham conflict. The head of personnel at Rackham Capital Investments has died in an accident, becoming the second senior-level employee to have died in recent weeks. Journalist Brianna Blanco commented in the Federal Times, Senior executive
Fuel scooping.
Darren was killed when his personal limousine malfunctioned and crashed. The incident has not been ruled as suspicious. O'Shea's position was filled within hours by a supporter of Taja Gavaris, however.
Warning. Temperature critical. Fuel scooping
Gavaris
complete.
herself inherited the CFO role in a similar fashion following her predecessor's recent death. With two close allies gone, CEO Zachary Rackham must feel under threat. This corporate power struggle increasingly resembles two pirate captains fighting to become overall leader. The authorities have again declined to begin formal investigations into Gavaris and Rackham, claiming a lack of evidence. How many more casualties must occur before this conflict is taken seriously? Children of Tothos begin sacrifices. The children of Tothos are preparing to destroy Archambault Terminal with a stolen nuclear weapon, sacrificing millions of lives in the name of their deity. Crime correspondent Ethan Takahashi of the Federal Times delivered this report. Ritual sacrifices have now begun, according to a chilling broadcast from cult leader Barnabas Cole. He claims these deaths will lead to a final ceremony, when the Lucifer device will be detonated. Dozens of the starport's citizens are already feared dead at the hands of cultists. Cole also made this statement. We welcome new followers who heed my testament by sending one of their siblings into Tothos's light. Since this message, disturbing reports have been received of newly docked ships killing one of their own crew, so that the rest are granted permission to join the cult. Federal authorities are still unsure how to free Archambault Terminal without risking its annihilation. Week in Review. Here are this week's main stories. Archambault Terminal remains under the control of the Children of Tothos. Negotiation with the cult's leader, Barnabas Cole, has proven ineffective so far. Despite evidence suggesting that the deity Tothos was created by Cole, several civilian ships have traveled to the Chum Star system seeking to join the cult. Taja Gavaris, the new CFO of Rackham Capital Investments, was accused of concealing a criminal background. It is believed that Gavaris is preparing to challenge CEO Zachary Rackham for leadership of the company, continuing a rivalry dating back years to when the two allegedly operated as pirates. In other news, an intact cryogenic pod has been recovered from an abandoned outpost once used by Far God worshippers. It is unknown who occupies the pod, but early indications suggest it is one of the adherents who recorded audio logs previously discovered at the site. Finally, Explorer's Anchorage has officially opened in the Galactic Center region. The Orbis starport has been built in the Stume FGY D7561 system as part of the Distant Worlds 2 expedition. And those are the main stories this week. Survivor found at Far God Outpost. The Federal Intelligence Agency has discovered an intact cryogenic pod underneath an outpost once used by Far God worshippers. Freelance reporter Alexei Keel broke the news on Vox Galactica. The FIA survey team had been scanning the abandoned base on Etane 4C with customized military sensors. It's thought this operation is part of a search for a missing undercover agent
Frameshift drive charging.
who infiltrated the Far God cult. A faint power source was detected in a collapsed underground chamber, which led agents to a solitary cryogenic pod hidden beneath tons of debris. Once excavated, it was to a medical facility where efforts to safely revive its occupant are now underway. There was no way of identifying who is inside the pod, but it seems likely that they are one of the adherents who recorded audio logs of the site prior to entering suspended animation to await the Far God. Pirate history of Taja Gavaris unveiled. Taja Gavaris, the new CFO of Rackham Capital Investments, has been accused of having a criminal background as a pirate leader. Journalist Brianna Blanco made this declaration in the Federal Times. During my reporting on multi-billionaire Zachary Rackham, I have become convinced that he and many others employed by Rackham Capital Investments were once pirates, who laundered their stolen money and moved into legitimate business. New research has proved that Taja Gavaris was once a criminal rival of Rackham. I believe that Gavaris used her knowledge of Rackham's past to blackmail her way into his organization, and is now challenging for ownership by eliminating his loyal supporters. The Federal Times has published many similar revelations about Calico Zack over the years, yet no criminal investigation has been established. Perhaps this time the authorities will investigate before Gavaris's vendetta escalates further, potentially endangering civilian lives. Cultist occupation of Starport continues. Arkenbold Terminal.
Fuel scooping.
The Chud Star system remains under threat of nuclear destruction by the children of Tothos. Senior Agent
Fuel scooping complete.
Shell Karim updated the media. Despite the best efforts of our negotiators, the cultists remain in control of the Starport and still intend to detonate the Lucifer device.
System scan complete. Frameshift drive charging.
This 300 megaton weapon is capable of wiping out Arkenbold Terminal, along with the Starport's entire population. Their leader, Barnabas Cole, has transmitted messages via the Starport's comms array.
3, 2.
Repeating claims of preparing to bring Tothos' light to us all. There is no mention of a deity named Tothos in historical or mythical records, which suggests the faith was recently founded by Cole. Despite this, several civilian ships arrived in the Chud Star system over the past few days, attracted by Cole's sermons and seeking to join the cult. The FIA is monitoring the situation closely. Distant World Starport operational. The first Starport constructed in the Galactic Center region has officially opened its doors. Explorer's Anchorage, an Orbis Starport, has been built in the Stume FGY D7561 system as part of the Distant Worlds 2 expedition. Councillor Magnolia Gill, the Starport administrator, announced its operational status. For the last 4 weeks we have watched our new home take shape, using materials delivered by many hard-working pilots. Now it spins in the galaxy's heart, a monument to humanity's ingenuity, as well as serving as a safe haven for future explorers.
Fuel scooping.
Explorer's Anchorage is a scientific research installation. We hope to learn more about the supermassive black hole at Sagittarius A star
Fuel scooping complete.
and other astronomical phenomena in the galactic center. The distant
Frameshift drive charging.
World's 2 exploration fleet is continuing its journey across the galaxy towards Beagle Point. Week in review. Here are this week's main stories. The children of Tothos culted.
3, 2.
Taken control of Arkenbold Terminal in the Chud Star system. Access to most station services has been suspended. It is feared that the cult's leader, Barnabas Cole, plans to detonate the Lucifer device as part of an apocalyptic ceremony. Rackham Capital Investments has appointed Taja Gavaris as its new CFO, following the death of its former financial officer. CEO Zachary Rackham was not involved in Gavaris' appointment, leading to speculation of a scheme
Fuel scooping.
to remove Rackham from the company. And finally, the Distant Worlds 2 expedition has gathered the resources required to
Fuel scooping complete.
construct a new megaship and installation in the Stume F
Frameshift drive charging.
PY D7561 system. The fleet will now continue its journey towards Beagle Point. And those are the main stories this week. Rackham fatality creates
3, 2.
power struggle. Rackham Capital Investments has appointed a new CFO, following the death of its former financial officer. Business analyst Marlon Royce reported on the situation. Aaron served as CFO at Rackham Capital Investments from its inception. After a sudden cardiac arrest,
System scan complete.
the IV's turned SPA-approved terminal, the board of directors
Fuel
agreed
scooping.
to install Taja Gavaris as his replacement. Little is known of Gavaris outside of Hermes.
Fuel scooping complete.
Rise up the corporate ladder. CEO Zachary Rackham was not present at the vote. The CEO
Frameshift drive charging.
has taken a leave of absence to cope with his grief. The multi-billionaire businessman, also known as Calico Zach, established the company following a lucrative career as an independent trader, although rumors persist that he actually operated as a pirate. Insiders have speculated that Gavaris' appointment may be part of a scheme to oust Rackham from the top spot. Distant Worlds campaign concludes. The Distant Worlds 2 expedition has gathered resources for a megaship and installation to be constructed in the
System scan complete.
Galactic Center. Contributors delivered huge amounts of material
Fuel scooping.
to the STU-AFGY D7561 system. Deep space surveys also defended miners by placing
Fuel scooping complete.
a kill order on
Frameshift drive charging.
all wanted ships. Commander Michael Dartmoor of the Rock Rat stated, "The newly built astrophysics station will enable us to observe high-detail changes to the gravimetric field surrounding Sagittarius A star.
4, 3, 2.
We hope to better understand the deeper relationships between extreme gravity and multi-dimensional space. The Distant Worlds 2 exploration fleet will continue its journey across the galaxy towards Beagle Point. Those who took part in the campaign can now collect their awards from Explorer's anchorage in the STU-AFGY D7561 system. Nuclear threat shuts down Starport. Archambault terminal in the Chun Star system has been overtaken by the Children of Tothos cult, who are threatening to detonate a stolen nuclear weapon. Senior Agent Rochelle Karim gave this statement. Most services at Archambault terminal have shut down as a result of the control deck's occupation by Children of Tothos adherents. It's evident that personnel are obeying the cultists' orders for fear that they will use the Lucifer device. Millions of people remain at the starboard, making a frontal assault too risky. FIA negotiators are taking steps to open a dialogue and resolve the situation peacefully. The cult's leader, Barnabas Cole, transmitted a brief message using Archambault Terminal's communications array. At last, we have found the place where our testament's light will shine. Join us. When the ceremony is complete, you will all see Tothos, as we do. Week in review. Here are this week's main
Fuel scooping.
stories. The Children of Tothos have been thwarted in their attempt to destroy Archambault Terminal. Cult leader
Fuel scooping complete.
Barnabas Cole was killed by Special Agent Rochelle Karim while preparing to detonate the nuclear Lucifer device, as federal intelligence agents arrested the remaining
Frameshift drive charging.
cultists. Karim and her team had infiltrated the starport by posing as devotees of the cult. The Federal Times has been asked to provide evidence as part of an FIA investigation into Rackham Capital Investments.
3, 2.
A number of employees, including owner Zachary Rackham and current CFO Taja Gavaris, are understood to be the focus of the inquiry. In other news, Princess Aisling Duval has revealed details of a secret meeting with Hadrian Augustus Duval. The two met in the Paris system, with Princess
System scan complete.
Duval expressing regret at the violent purge of Nova Imperium members.
Fuel scooping.
She further stated that genetic testing confirmed Hadrian's lineage. And those are the main stories this week.
Fuel scooping complete.
Aisling Duval contacts Hadrian Duval. Princess Aisling
Frameshift drive charging.
Duval has revealed that she recently visited Imperator Hadrian Augustus Duval, leader of the isolationist group Nova Imperium. The Imperial Herald published her statement. For some time, I have regretted my initial dismissal of Hadrian. Had I known that Arisa intended to carry out such a brutal purge of his followers, my approach would have been different. Although he has been labeled an enemy of the Empire, I found myself unable to ignore this new member of the Duval family, and so requested a meeting in the Paris system.
System scan complete.
Another reason to make contact was to verify his claim to be Emperor Hengist's grandson. All the genetic tests
Fuel scooping.
impressive. Hadrian is indeed my cousin by blood. We have now opened a dialogue to see if there can ever be
Fuel scooping complete.
common ground between us. Perhaps together we can
Frameshift drive charging.
heal divisions within the Empire. Starport saved from destruction. The Children of Tothos cult has been prevented from detonating a nuclear weapon intended to destroy Arkham-Bolt Terminal. Crime correspondent for the Federal Times, Ethan Takahashi, delivered this special report. Terror struck the starport when cult leader Barnabas Cole announced the final ceremony to summon their deity, by sacrificing millions of people, as Cole prepared to activate the Lucifer device.
System scan complete.
He was shot dead by one of his followers, who subsequently revealed herself as
Fuel scooping.
Senior Agent Rochelle Carey. Other Federal Intelligence Agency operatives moved to arrest Cole's acolytes and secure the control deck.
Fuel scooping complete. Frameshift drive charging.
Since learned that Karim's unit was posing as Tothos worshippers eager to join the cult, they had staged the death of a team member to receive access to the starport. The Lucifer device has now been disarmed and secured. While station services are returning to normal. Rackham under investigation. The Federal Times has been asked to assist with a criminal investigation into Rackham Capital Investments. Journalist Brianna Blanco reported on the details. Operatives from the Federal Intelligence Agency have contacted
System scan complete.
our offices regarding the recent deaths at Zachary Rackham's company. We are cooperating
Fuel scooping.
their inquiry and have agreed to share all relevant documentation. The Federal Times has been monitoring the suspicious
Fuel scooping complete.
activities of Calico Zach for years, so we're relieved that the authorities are
Frameshift drive charging.
at last taking these allegations seriously. Our discoveries about Taja Gavaris, who seems to be clearing the path up the corporate ladder by any means necessary, are of particular concern. We expect Rackham. Gavaris and many other ex-pirates masquerading as businessmen to answer all charges brought against them. Week in review. Here are this week's main stories. The Children of Tothos are preparing to detonate the Lucifer device as part of an apocalyptic ceremony that would destroy Arkham-Bolt Terminal.
System scan complete.
Transmissions have been received indicating that ritual sacrifices
Fuel scooping.
have occurred at the starboard, with civilians wishing to join the cult being forced to kill one of their crew upon docking to prove their
Fuel scooping complete.
devotion. Rackham Capital Investments has experienced a second tragedy as the head of personnel suffered
Frameshift drive charging.
a fatal accident. The position was quickly filled with a supporter of Taja Gavaris. The recently installed CFO is believed to be positioning herself to acquire the company from owner Zachary Rackham. In other news, the occupant of a cryogenic pod retrieved from an outpost once used by Fargod worshippers has been revived. Kiona O'Connor, a runaway taken in by the cult, was placed in suspended animation along with many others. She has since been returned to her family home. And those are the main stories this
System scan complete.
week. Fargod survivor
Fuel scooping.
survived. The occupant of a cryogenic pod recovered from a
Fuel scooping complete. Frameshift drive charging. System scan complete. Fuel scooping. Surface scan complete.